welcome to this Yin 30. So again, you probably, you don't have to, but if you have a cushion, a block, it might come handy. And we'll start lying on our front, on our tummy. And you can maybe just make some sort of cushion in the best that you can with your hands. So if you spread your fingers and probably using that sort of diamond shape with your thumbs and index so that you can rest your forehead. So most probably something like this. I don't know, you want to try to adjust. So just so that you're not squashing your nose and you can breathe. So you might want to maybe bring your forefingers on top of each other to elevate your forehead. I mean, it depends really on your shape, just so that you come into a comfortable lying posture with your spine straight. And you start to relax your shoulders. Hello, sweet. Just finding your breath, relaxing. So noticing how the abdomen is pushing into the floor as you inhale, and then softening as you exhale. You might be feeling a bit more of a push in the backside of the body. Just start to notice your breath. And nice and slow, we're going to start with our first pose. So you can turn your head to the left, relaxing your right cheek, extending your arms out. So you want to be focusing on your right arm, so right palm on the floor. So ideally it's a T-shaped position. You're going to tentai your left fingers, bringing them right under your left elbow. And you can start to push on your fingers, drawing your left knee up. And then you can start to lift your knee, leaning towards the right. So see if you can lean on your right side. Maybe even bringing your left foot on the floor. So you might need to walk your left fingers a little bit closer. So you should be feeling a good stretch into the front of your right shoulder. So this is where maybe a block or a cushion might come handy if it's a little bit uncomfortable for your neck to rest your head, and start to find the position that is most suited for you. So ideally you want your right leg to be nice and straight all the way to the crown of the head. And if you want to take that further, if you can sort of lean back a little bit more, so maybe helping with your left fingers, maybe you can bring your left foot behind your right leg, and you can just really go slow and take a few breaths. The body might start to open breath by breath, and maybe slowly you can go further, even maybe bringing your left hand behind your small back. Again, feel the expansion of the abdomen as you inhale. Maybe noticing how the upper chest wants to expand and you feel a bit more the stretch. Try to let it relax every exhale. If you can go further, Maybe you can interlace your fingers behind you. If you're still more open, you can maybe bring your right foot flat on the floor, knees up to the sky, so that you add a bit more of a twist into it. Might be a little bit too much and not so relaxing, so just check what works for you. Maybe a good way is to bring your left fingers under your right ribs, palm on the floor, just so that you can really find a resting position. And we won't be there for too long, since it's a pretty strong stretch, so maybe just 1 more minute or so. Just letting the breath help you to relax. Softening a little bit more every exhale. And very slowly you can start to unwind, coming back onto your left fingertips so that you can control the release of the pose. Bringing your left knee out to the side, you can push your cushion away and you can come back to the center, back to where we started, so that you release into the right shoulder. Just taking a few breaths here. You also have the option to bring your toes out, heels in, to help relax your lower back a bit further. You just take a few deep breaths in through the nose into the back body. Out the nose. Let it all soften. Maybe a few more breaths like this. Without rush, we're just gonna set up for the other side, so you can extend your arms out in T-shaped position. You want your left leg to be nice and long. Slowly you can turn your head to the right, coming onto your right fingertips, drawing your right knee up. Keep pushing onto your fingertips so that you can start to initiate the twist, coming onto your right foot. So again, you want to keep your left hand nice and flat, maybe using your cushion block for your head if you feel you need to, if you did on the previous side. And again, take the time to come into your pose, finding your edge. You can always try and back off or just really go nice and slow if you feel you need a few more breaths to let the body open properly. Bit of a strong one. So you don't need to place your foot behind your leg. But if you can, you get a bit more into your hips, you get a bit more of a twist, deepening that stretch into the front of the body. Maybe placing your right hand into your small back. Again, maybe you can go a bit further, interlace your fingers, arms straight, maybe both feet flat on the floor, knees up to the sky. Again, you can try, and if this is too much, you can just come back. Again, you want to try to keep your left arm in T-shaped position. And you just stay there for a few breaths. Very slowly you can start to unwind. Again, you can push your cushion, come back to center. Getting a good support for your forehead, maybe heels in. And slowly bring your hands by your chest. You can push on your hands coming into all fours. So we're going to move into Anahata. So relax your toes, making sure you keep your hips right above your knees. And see if you can start arching into your spine, walking your hands forward. So again, maybe you need a cushion if you are not super flexible and you can't quite reach the floor. Maybe cushion, a couple of cushions if you need to prop up as you try to keep your hips right above your knees. So this is different from some sort of Sphinx pose. So you don't want to be coming forward or reaching back like a child's pose. You really want to be arching into your spine, stretching your arms forward. So you can start with your forehead on the floor, letting your chest relax towards the floor. Nice big arch into the spine. If you don't have any neck issues, you can bring your chin to the floor. And you really want to be feeling a push in the back of the heart. Nice arch into your spine. And if your arms are nice and straight, you should be feeling a good stretch. More so under the armpits. Whenever you feel the need to release, you can go into a child's pose. Otherwise, be there for a few more breaths. Always remember to honor your body, so if you ever feel this is time for you to release, very slowly you can start to come up and find a child's pose with your knees nice and wide, resting your chest between your knees, forehead to the floor, resting your forearms on the floor. And then gently coming up, you can come through maybe a down dog, walking your hands forward. If you feel like a down dog, we're moving into pigeon pose, or straight from there. If you don't want to take a down dog, you can place your right knee behind your right wrist, adjusting your leg according to your own capacity. Again, block or cushion maybe under your right hip if that feels like you need some support, making sure that you keep your hips nice and parallel to the floor as much as possible. So you probably want to be walking your left leg back. So see if you can really rest your right glute, again, either on the floor, or if the floor is not accessible, cushion, block, just so that you can really find a good resting pose. And if you don't have any knee issue, you can start to come forward onto your elbows. As you exhale, again, making sure that you keep your hips nice and leveled. Maybe you can go all the way down, forehead to the floor, extending your arms out to the front, lengthening from your back toes all the way to your fingers. So again, you want to be paying attention to your knee. So the more open the leg, the harder it is on the knee. If you keep your heel under, it protects your knee. Normally it protects your knee a little bit more. This less torque. But anytime you feel this is too much, or if you really have knee issues, you can just come on your back for a thread the needle. So bringing your right ankle on top of your left knee, and you can just interlace your fingers behind your knee in front of your shin. And you work your left knee towards your chest, right knee away from the chest. And you can just relax. Shoulder blades into the floor. That's your easy version in case you have knee issues. Otherwise, again, you try to find some length on the inhale from your toes to your fingers, feeling the compression at the front of the body as you rest your chest on your shin, forehead to the floor, maybe feeling a bit more of the expansion in the back body, and trying to let the exhale allow to soften. Nice and slow, you can inhale to come up, and you start to release again. Maybe just cat and cow, coming onto your all fours, or maybe passing through a down dog if you feel, taking a few steps to release before you come into the other side. Again, finding some support if you need to, opening your legs or your leg, front leg, to your own ability. Again, hips are nice and parallel to the floor as much as possible. So as you reach back with your right leg, your hips go back and down. And then you can start to exhale, coming down. So you might notice one knee, one hip a little bit tighter on one side. So try to honor that, adjust. Maybe one side you can't go as far down. That's okay, no judgment there, just observation. Again, honoring your body, noticing the differences. And just relax. See if you can focus on your breath. Just a few more breaths. Nice and slow, you can start to come up, pressing your hands into the floor. Again, you can take a down dog or just straight on your knees, your choice. If you're into down dog, after a few walks, a few pedaling, you can bring your knees towards your hands, and we'll just finish off with reclined hero pose. So again, you might want to be using some sort of support for your hips. So you want to try to bring your feet out and sit between your heels as much as possible. You keep your knees together. That might be maybe your option. That might be just enough for you. If you can go further, you can start to lean back onto your elbows. If this is too much, you can also work one side at a time, extending one leg. And we'll switch halfway through, reclining back onto elbows, or maybe even all the way down to your shoulder blades. So you might want to, good tip is to get hold of your ankles to help you sort of come down and control if you need to come up. My knees are still, I've got tight hips, lower back, so my knees are still coming out, but ideally you want to keep your knees together. If you want maybe even more, you can extend your arms overhead. And just relax as much as possible into the lower back. Won't be there too long. Just finishing off. A bit of a strong one for most people. Whenever you feel this is enough, you can maybe just release into savāsana to finish the practice, relaxing completely. So again, if you get hold of your ankles, this will help you to lift, pushing your elbows into the floor to lift back up using your core muscles. If you've been doing one side, you can switch, changing sides. Just finding a few relaxing breaths. Very slowly you can start to release again, getting hold of your ankles, pushing your elbows into the floor to come up. And you can slowly extend your legs out to the front, finding savāsana. You can relax, lying on your back, palms open to the sky. You might need to wiggle gently your hips from side to side, releasing any pressure from the lower back. Maybe a little squeeze of the knees into the chest is needed for the lower back, just as a little counter pose to the previous pose. And when you're ready, Shavasana, relaxing completely for a minute or two. So you're most welcome to stay as long as you want in your resting, relaxing pose on your back. Or whenever you feel ready. Taking your time to come out. Just getting a little movement. Letting the breath slowly return in the body. You can come up to a comfortable seat. With your palms together in front of your heart. Again, taking a moment to honor your body tempo. Noticing the effects of the practice, the lengthening, resetting of the muscles, the good stretch, the calming effect of these stretches, not only on the body but also on the mind. Hari Om Tat Sat. Peace, love and light.